talk about something better, right? Something more exciting. Building a moon base on the moon. That's what I'm talking about. Building a moon base is a huge task, and here are the tiny satellites that will pave the way. There's not been a lot of progress in manned moon exploration since the end of the space race. However, lately, the dream of an inhabited moon base has become stronger and stronger. What do we need to do in order to realize this dream? This is by Yang Gao, Associate Dean, Professor of Space Autonomous Systems, University of Surrey. The space race between the US and Russia ended half a century ago when the US astronauts became the first to walk on the moon. Today, there's yet another race, prompted by China's successful landing on the far side of the moon and invoking private companies as well as national space agencies to put humans back on the lunar surface. But building a moon base and actually living on the moon will require careful planning. First, we need to identify the map available lunar resources, including hydrogen and water ice. Such compounds are crucial if we are to create breathable air and rocket fuel, whether for observatory or a launch pad to go to outer planets in our solar system. But sending missions to map the moon for resources in enough detail to enable future establishments is an extensive undertaking that will take a long time. Luckily, there was a shortcut: tiny satellites called CubeSats. There are many desirable resources on the moon, from the water ice that can give us fuel and air and other volatile elements to titanium, and also water to drink is very important, and water to grow our crops, because we have grown crops in space. They just made hot peppers. I don't know if you saw that. And also we've grown wheat, which we can do many, many amazing things with wheat. There may have accumulated in permanently shadowed polar regions where it's too cold for them to vaporize. I'm fairly certain they actually know that for a fact. Prior orbital and landed lunar missions have provided us with a broad overview of lunar surface geology. This knowledge has been boosted by returned lunar samples from the Apollo and Luna sample return missions, as well as recovered lunar meteorites. In fact, that is how we obtained the evidence for lunar water ice in permanently shadowed regions. See, they even talk about it in the article. Yeah, of course. See, they have proven it. This knowledge has... we have also learned that the lunar surface is composed of variable amounts of ilmenite and related oxide minerals, as well as silicate minerals and nanophase iron material with grain sizes under 100 nanometers, which are all useful for future construction on the moon. But this knowledge won't get us far. We also need to know exactly how the substances are distributed and what form they are in. Are they free or bound to something? Are they deep down? How do they interact with the lunar surface? We cannot extract them successfully without knowing such things. If we are to get to the bottom of these questions, we need new low-cost missions that can be achieved more rapidly compared to traditional large and expensive projects. In comes nanosatellites, mini and microsatellites, a technology that has matured over the past 40 years to make space science considerably cheaper, have therefore come forward as a great option. In more recent years, we have even started to consider using nanosatellite platforms, such as CubeSats. These tiny satellites weighing a few tens of kilograms, where a standard platform have been developed onto which several different instruments can be fitted. And here is an example of a CubeSat. Very tiny, fitting into the palm of someone's hand. Robotic exploration of the solar system using nanosatellites is attractive because they are cheaper, less risky, and have a shorter development schedule compared to traditional science missions. NASA is therefore planning a series of lunar missions using CubeSats, including Lunar Flashlight, Luna HMAP, Lunar IceCube, which will all help improve our understanding that the spatial distribution of water ice in lunar cold traps. However, the spatial resolution of observations of this mission isn't great, on the order of 1 to many kilometers. Given that the future lunar landers or rovers destined for permanently shadowed regions will likely have limited mobility, there is a need to improve the spatial accuracy of maps of water ice. I work on another CubeSat mission called Volatile and Mineralogy Mapping Orbiter, VMMO, funded by the European Space Agency, which will be able to achieve this using laser technology. VMMO aims to address several key aspects of future lunar exploration, adopting 12U CubeSat design, which has the dimensions of 120 by 10 by 10 centimeters, which is rather small. It will map the location of relevant resources and volatile substances in sufficient quantities to be able to operationally useful for future lunar settlers to make fuel and breathable air. Its primary science payload is a miniaturized laser instrument that would probe the Shackleton crater adjacent to the South Pole for measuring the abundance of water ice. Specifically, the instrument uses LiDAR, a surveying method that can image an object by illuminating it with a laser light and measuring the reflected light with a sensor. Scanning 10-meter wide path, the instrument would take 260 days to build a high-resolution map of water ice inside a 20-kilometer diameter crater in this way. It will also map lunar resources such as ilmenite, which is TIFE03, as it flies over sunlit regions, as well as monitoring the distribution of ice and other substances across darkened areas. This will help us understand how condensates migrate across the surface during the 2-week lunar night. The VMMO mission is due to be launched in 2023. If all goes well, it will help pave the path for European lunar exploration towards a moon village and commercial exploitation in the 2030 to 2040 timeline. Now, I just said this the other day that we'll have a moon base in the next 10 years. We'll be, we're going to be there. We're going to be in space. Space is definitely going to become a normal thing for us to be living in. We are going to be branching out into the solar system, and I think it's going to happen in the next 10 years. Now, they're saying that they're going to be having a moon village by 2030, 2040, sometime in that decade. And that's pretty exciting because that'll be right around the time that I might be able to afford visiting the moon and maybe writing a song over there. I don't know. You never know with that kind of stuff. But on the conversation with the moon, I do want to talk about this. Once in a century, lunar eclipse will be visible in all 50 states this month, and here's how to spot it. Obviously, you just look at the moon, but more like when, I guess, would be more accurate. Stargazers who want to catch a lengthy glimpse of a lunar eclipse can do so later this month, as long as they set their alarms good and early. Of course, it's going to be early in the morning. All but 3% of the moon will be obscured by Earth's shadow in the early morning of November 19th. That's right, November 19th. Make sure you remember that date. November 19th is when we're going to see this amazing lunar eclipse. It's the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century. Due to the early hours, during the early hours of November 19th, Earth will pass between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow over the latter. The eclipse will peak just after 4 a.m. Eastern Time, when our planet will hide 97% of the full moon from the sun's light, giving the moon a reddish hue. For the upcoming eclipse, skywatchers in North America have the best seats in the house. People in all 50 states, Canada, and Mexico can watch the full event. So definitely get out there and check it out, guys. And I'm really excited. And those dogs are going. Can you guys hear the dogs? Is it? I've been like trying to. I've been distracted. That's why I was kind of like stumbling through that last article. Because these dogs are going nuts, man.